Okay, so my presentation has to do with the role of ESL teachers in pull-out programs or as collaborating teachers. I've chosen this particular topic because in my current school, it's been brought to my attention. Right now, my role here is just as a grade 6 social studies and English language arts teacher, as well as grade 7 social studies. For next year, it's been, like I said, brought to my attention that I will continue with the same grade 6 role. So 2 sections of grade 6 social studies, 2 sections of grade 6 language, like English language arts, as well as a pull-out teacher with a focus on our ESL students, and hopefully there'll be students who are um, in my social studies class, but there's obviously the chance that they won't be in my social studies class as well. So I don't know all of the particulars about my role at my school next year. However, it will be in some sort of pull-out or collaborating ESL teacher. So that's why I've chosen this particular topic. So I think it's important to start with this one about what the role of a pull-out, in particular ESL teacher, is. So obviously I'll see the students outside of their particular content area classes. Now, like I said, I don't know all of the details about my role for next year, but there's a very good chance that I'll see a number of my grade 6 social studies students in this pull-out role. And so while it'll be outside of our actual social studies classroom, it'll be an opportunity for me to provide small group scaffolding to help them get through the content that we're trying to get through in our full group sessions. But on top of that, there's a very good chance that I'll be working with some of their other subjects as well. That part of my role will be to help them with the science content, the math content, the English B content as well. And so I have a feeling that my role will not be just to help them with my class. And so it'll be important for me to prepare for those other courses as well. In my particular role, so it says there next, possibly has a set ESL curriculum that is taught to students and can supplement what is being taught in classrooms. In my particular context, we do have an ESL curriculum. We're an IB school, so students take either English A or English B. I teach English A. That's the English language arts regular kind of middle school English course. English language and literature, where English B is the English language acquisition, and that is not what I am teaching. So it'll be very important for me with this pull-out role to collaborate with that teacher in particular, to make sure that we can collaborate on specific language goals for these students while making sure that their content goals in my social studies course, as well as their math and science, art classes, all of those things are also met as well. And again, like I've mentioned a number of times, it'll be smaller groups of students, probably groups of 3 to 4 maximum that I'll be working with. The particular context, again, at my school, we call it our Quest program, or it is called the Quest program. It is a pull-out program. We've just started to implement and to use WIDA data for new students who are coming in. One of the big issues with our Quest program that we as teachers see here is that it's a pay for play service, and students pay to be in Quest, and it's a large moneymaker for the school. And so there's little incentive to graduate, quote unquote, graduate kids out of Quest. If they're in Quest, the powers that be want them to stay in Quest in order to keep the money rolling in. So it's a double-edged sword there, but it's the reality of the situation. And to be fair, as it stands right now, the students that are in that program do benefit from that program. However, there have been situations where students who would benefit from that program have not had the opportunity to be in there because of the cost of it. And it also functions as a general tutoring service. So students who perhaps struggle in math, their parents can request that they're in there, and they get extra math support for that. So that's the context that I'll be working in, the framework that I need to make sure that I function inside of. And one of my goals really is to incorporate that WIDA data and to make sure that I know where students stand on that, make sure that I'm able to utilize that and make sure the students are progressing and showing that progress. So one of the major things that I'm trying to present or to do with my role as this pull-out teacher is to lighten the load for classroom teachers. A lot of times with regards to differentiation, especially for English language learners, teachers can be or can feel over their head, or in over their head, or unsure of where to go, not sure what can be done in order to help their English language learner population in their class. And a lot of times this either creates extra or unneeded stress for that teacher, or that student gets kind of pushed to the side or doesn't get the help that they need. So what I really want to make sure that I'm doing is being in contact with that teacher, where it will be my responsibility to do the bulk of that differentiation. I'm very lucky in my role for next year that I'm teaching the grade 6 social studies and ELA that I've already taught this year. I've taught that once this year. I feel confident with it. I don't think it will be a ton of prep work for me next year teaching those 2 grade 6 courses. And so I can focus the bulk of my time being that differentiator for classroom teachers, being able to implement this research, these procedures to make sure that classroom content teachers address the needs of those students, that I can be the one who adjusts things and scaffolds things and provides those extra frameworks, those graphic organizers, those things that will help students function within that classroom. That's probably my biggest goal for next year, is to make sure that I can be the one that is responsible for that. Another thing that I was able to recognize, or that I found very interesting in the research that I did, is this idea of tiering down information, right? So that instead of thinking firstly about how we need to make the information accessible to our English language learners, it's about addressing the content goals of the lesson itself. What are we trying to learn from this lesson? What are we trying to get students to do or to know by the end of it? And then to be able to create the frameworks to get those English language learners there, right? What has to happen to get them to that same ending point that the native speakers are going to get to? It's important to keep the content goals the same. Students are going to do whatever the task is, whatever specific thing they're going to know at the end. Then we need to work backwards to get the English language learners there. And again, tying back into my last slide, I really want that to be my goal. I want to be in contact with teachers and say, hey, what's the content goal? What are we trying to do? And then it's my responsibility to work from there. I don't want teachers to feel overwhelmed, to feel like they have to cater to me to get me all their materials and things. Just give me the content goal, and I can figure it out from there. One of the other pieces of research that I looked at was creating collaborative systems for teachers. And obviously this is something that every school, every teacher, everywhere wants to do, right? But it's always very hard to do. Every teacher is going to have the same complaints about finding time, finding space, figuring out where to be, when to be, to get that collaborative system going. And a couple of the things between this slide and this slide here has to do with a continuum of collaboration and modeling collaborative behavior, in the sense that not every collaboration doesn't have to be fancy or complicated necessarily. It can be as simple as digital collaboration. So for example, a lot of the teachers, at least at my school, and probably lots and lots of schools around, use Google Classroom. We have Google Team Drive at my school as well, and the fact that we share a grade 7 folder, I'm the only grade 6 teacher, but my grade 7 partner, him and I work from the same PowerPoint presentations. We share. I have access to his Google Classroom. He has access to my Google Classroom. We're working, in lockstep in our classrooms. We meet one time a week for maybe 25, 30 minutes. But I think it's obvious and it's clear that, this teacher and I are working together. And students can see that. And I think they recognize that the fact that we're simply, working from the same presentation, or they can talk to their friends in the other grade 7 class and say, oh, did you do X, Y, and Z in Mr. Brewis's class? Oh, we did that in, Mr. R's class as well. And so I think when students can see that, then they're more willing to buy in and to be a part of a collaborative team. So this was another piece of my research that I found interesting, that ESL teachers were seen as a bit of a marginalized group, and part of the writing in the article that I found talked about it as, it's dirty work that classroom teachers, recognize as important and see as important, but certainly don't want to get their hands covered in. And as a classroom teacher myself right now, I understand that, and I feel like I can see that in a way that sometimes it's frustrating to have to rely on other people to be helpful, right? I think part of the reason that I'm enjoying my grade 6 position right now is that I'm the only grade 6 social studies and ELA teacher. I get to do what I want, how I want, when I want, and I don't have to collaborate with anyone. And that definitely makes things easier. So with that in mind, what I want to make sure that I do next year in my role as this pull-out ESL teacher is that I make sure that I'm not making classroom teachers' lives any harder than they need to be. All I need from them is their learning or their content objectives, and I want to make sure that I can make it easy for students to reach those without them getting frustrated with me, essentially. Also, I think that ESL teachers have an important role during parent nights. Part of my research discussed this and talked about this. And I think the biggest takeaway for me was this idea of being able to clearly communicate the goals of the ESL program to parents. They should already know these, obviously, from the beginning of the year and the syllabi and those meetings. But being a helping hand to the classroom teachers and being able to clearly show what is being done to scaffold and to help with students in their content area classrooms will go a lot to helping parents feel comfortable with students in math and in science and in social studies and whatnot who are still learning English. And I'm running out of time, so I'll talk about this one very briefly, but that when novice teachers come in and have an ESL teacher as a bit of a mentor,